Good morning, students. Today we will study the first War of Independence in 1857 or the Revolt of 1857. In that lesson, we have to study about India's first fight with British Empire for their freedom, for their independence from the British rule in India. India's independence from British rule on 15th August 1947 was the result of a long drawn out process for freedom. The years from 1757 to 1857 were marked by rapid expansion of English East India Company. But the year 1857 started a new chapter in Indian history when millions of soldiers, peasants, artisans participated in the uprising of British rule, which is also called the First War of Independence. Now we have to see the causes of the revolt. The revolt of 1857 occurred during the Governor Generalship of Lord Canning. The revolt was a combination of political, economic, social, religious, and military causes. First, we will see the political causes. According to Lord Dalhousie's policy of doctrine of lapse, they adopted heirs. Heirs means in Hindi we can call it like waris. The adopted heirs of kings could neither inherit king's title nor his property. This created dissatisfaction. Kingdoms of Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur and Sambalpur were annexed in this way. Annexed means captured. British put their own rights. Under the policy of annexation, Lord Dalhousie annexed Awadh. Awadh was captured by explanation that there is misadministration. At that time, Nawab was not working properly in his administration. That was declared, and Awadh was captured by the British. British refused to grant pension to Nana Sahib as he was adopted son of Nana of Bajirao. They also showed disrespect to Bahadur Shah Zafar. This infuriated the rulers of these states. Then economic causes we have to see. The East India Company purchased indigo, spices, cotton at very cheap rates from peasants and sold them at high prices abroad. Only indigo, tea, jute, cotton and opium were allowed to be grown. People suffered due to shortage of food grains. The British officials were paid huge salaries which were repatriated to England. The British government put restrictions on the import of Indian textiles in England, besides imposing heavy import duties on such goods. In India, handmade textiles could not compete with machine-made products from Britain. This ruined the Indian industries. Peasants had to bear the heavy burden of taxes, which increased indebtedness and stagnated agricultural growth. Poverty and famines ravaged the country, and British did nothing to reduce people's misery. Now, socio-religious causes. British social reforms, abolition of sati in 1829, legalization of widow remarriage in 1856, etc., hurt the sentiments of the orthodox and conservative people. The Orthodox Indians felt humiliated to note that in the railway compartments, Brahmins, the people from the backward classes, were made to sit side by side. British support to Christian missionaries who converted Hindus to Christians created dissatisfaction among the people. The law of property, which enabled inheritance even to Hindus who converted to other religions, was not received well by the people. Other social religious causes were taxing of religious places, government supports to Christian missionaries, fears regarding Western education, and apprehensions about modern technology. Then we have to see military causes. The Indian and British soldiers were not treated equally. The salary of the Indian soldiers was too meager to support their families, while the duties of both the British and the Indian soldiers were more or less similar. As per the General Service Enlistment Act in 1856, passed in British Parliament, Indian soldiers could be deported anywhere, including overseas. Brahmin soldiers saw this as a danger to their caste, as overseas voyages were restricted in their caste. The large proportion of Indian soldiers in British Army and poor performance of British troops in other wars convinced the Indian soldiers to take up arms against British. The Bengal army consisted mainly of soldiers from Oudh. Thus, the annexation of Oudh hurt the feelings of the soldiers from that province. Indian and British soldiers were not treated equally. The British soldiers were paid 8 times the salary than the latter. Loss of British army in Afghan war convinced the Indian soldiers that the British could also be defeated. Then we have to see immediate causes. In 1856, the British authorities decided to replace the old-fashioned musket, that is called the brown base, by the new Enfield rifle. The cartridges to be used in the rifle were greased with fat. The loading process of the Enfield rifle involved bringing the cartridge to the mouth and biting off the top greased paper with the mouth. A rumor spread that the cartridges were greased with the fat of pigs and cows. Soldiers believed that these cartridges were intentionally greased with the animal's fat to hurt their religious sentiments. Now we have to see the main events of the uprising. The revolt first began at Barakpur when most of the Indian soldiers refused to use the greased cartridges. As a result, a Brahmin soldier of 34th Native Infantry at Barakpur named Mangal Pandey led an attack on the adjutant of 34th Native Infantry on 29th March 1857. After this incident, Mangal Pandey was arrested and hanged on 8 April 1857. This incident started uprising in various parts of North and Central India. The mutiny started at Meerut on 10th May 1857. The occasion was the punishment of some sepoy for the refusal to use the greased cartridges. They broke open jails, murdered Europeans, burnt their houses, and marched to Delhi. In Delhi, the sepoy seized the city and proclaimed Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah II as the Emperor of India. However, the British surmounted Delhi and the old Emperor Bahadur Shah was taken as prisoner. As a punishment, he was ordered life imprisonment and deported to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. In Lucknow, Begum Hazrat Mahal, the wife of the Nawab of Awadh, led the uprising on 38th May 1857. The city was recaptured by the British in March 1858. Begum Hazrat Mahal fled towards the Nepal frontier. Then at Kanpur, the revolt was led by Nana Sahib, but he was defeated by the British in December 1857, after which he fled to Nepal. Then Kunwar Singh from Bihar, Rani Lakshmibai from Jhansi, Tata Tope, who was Nana Sahib's general, Khan Bahadur Shah was from Bareilly, Maulavi Ahmadullah from Faizabad, Azimullah Khan from Fatehpur, that all were the other leaders who took command of the movement. Now we have to see the consequences of the revolt. The revolt was suppressed by the British and the leaders either died at battle or hanged. But the revolt shook the foundations of British Empire in India. The consequences were end of the rule. The revolt ended the rule of the East India Company by the Government of India Act of 1858, Queen's Proclamation. The Queen Proclamation incorporating the transfer of governance from East India Company to the British Crown made by public at Allahabad on 1st November 1858 by Lord Canning the First, who was the first Viceroy of India. Relations with princely states. Then doctrine of lapse was abolished and the right to adopt sons and successors were given to the princely states. End of Mughals and Peshwas. Mughal rule ended with the death of Bahadur Shah in 1862 and Peshwaship was abolished. Then changes in the army. The strength of the European troops in India was increased from 45,000 to 65,000 and the number of Indian troops was reduced from 2,38,000 to 14 lakh 1,40,000. All big troops and artillery departments were reserved for the Europeans. Discrimination on the basis of caste, region, and religion was practiced in the recruitment to the army. Newspapers, journals, and nationalist publications were prevented from reaching the Indian army to keep them separated from the rest of the population. Then, what was the policy of divide and rule that we have to see? The British gave special protections and concessions to the princely states, encouraging hatred and ill feelings among the Hindus and the Muslims, so that the people of India could never challenge the British authority. The last one is economic exploitation. The British aggressively initiated territorial expansion that gave place to the era of economic exploitation. India became a typical colony of the British by exporting raw materials and importing British goods, peasants, rural artisans, etc., that were impoverished under the British rule. So that all changes will just happen in India or the British rule in India. British East India Company was just closed and that all the rights was just given in the hands of British Crown. Here we have completed our first war of independence. I am sending question answers of this also.